Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. And also click the bell notification in the top right-hand corner to be made aware anytime I upload tutorials or videos to YouTube. All right, let's craft together. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how you can create a greeting card or a birthday invitation and turn it into a video clip, and you can email that out to the participants or the people that you want to invite to the birthday celebration. So um, the design that I'm going to be walking through with you is the design that you see on my screen here. So we have 3 slides, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to be walking through with you how I created this design in Microsoft PowerPoint. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, I will tell you, if you are a new user to Microsoft PowerPoint, this may be a little bit overwhelming because it is going to be quite a bit of information or steps, but I will try to go through them slowly so that you can capture all the information so that you can make these wonderful birthday invitations or whatever type of invitations. This doesn't have to just be birthdays. It can be any kind of invitation. So we're going to go through the process here. Give me one moment. All right. So here we are inside Microsoft PowerPoint. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this slide to remove the information here. So we're going to right click, okay, right click your cursor and select layout and choose blank. And then we're going to go to the menu and select design. Come over to the far right side, select slide size, custom slide size. And we're going to change this to an 8.5 by 11. So we're just going to do a width of 8.5 with a height of 11. We're going to leave the orientation on portrait, and you don't have to worry about that, and then hit OK. On this screen, you're going to select Ensure Fit, and now you have an 8.5 by 11 slide in the portrait position on your screen. Okay, so we're going to design out this first, our background first, and then we'll start duplicating from there. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to get that background. Okay, so you can go right up to your little icons right underneath your menu, and you have this format background. And we're going to come down to gradient fill, and we're going to add about 4 stops. Okay, so these are your gradient stops here. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, to add gradients, you're going to click this first little icon right here, which says Add Gradient Stop if you don't have 4. And then if you have more than 4, to remove them, you would click on the gradient stop and then click on this icon with the little X in the top left corner to remove the gradient stop. So you only want 4 gradient stops, okay? You want to have one that is going to be in the 100% position. Your second gradient stop is going to be in the 34% position, and all you have to do, you can type these numbers in. You can click on the position field and just type in the numbers I'm giving you, 34%. The third gradient stop is going to be at 68%, and the fourth gradient stop is at 100%. And what we're going to do is you want to click on that first gradient stop. If you lay your cursor there, it says stop 1 of 4. And we're going to change that color. And we're just going to do kind of like this blue accent 1. We're going to click on that. Then we're going to click on the second gradient stop, come down to the color, and we're going to select the second blue accent that's at 60%. Click on the third one, come down to color, and we're going to select the third blue color. And then we're going to click on the fourth gradient stop, come down to color. We're going to click on the fourth blue accent, which is at 25%. Okay? And that's going to be our background. Okay. Now, if you ever create a background and you want to change up the gradients, it's very easy to do. You can move these gradients around. So if I wanted to put this dark blue at the top and the light at the bottom, all I have to do is shift their position. I'm going to move the light over to the far end and the dark blue to the top. Okay. So it's just that simple. You can play around with them. You can change the position. If you change the position, then that's going to also give you a different look. You can see that's the second gradient stop. And as I click on the down arrow for the positioning, you'll see that, the up arrow, you'll see that color, you'll see the gradient moving. Okay. So that's that. All right. The next thing is I want to add some confetti. So we're going to go to Insert, and we're going to select Picture, Online Picture, and we're going to type in confetti. Alrighty. So these are all the different options. You don't have to choose what I choose. You can choose whatever you like. I'm just going to pick up something here. So I'm going to go with this one and hit Insert. Now, the thing about this is we want to remove the white background. It's a little bit time consuming. You could also go to remove BG, but sometimes remove BG with these little pieces, it will, eat up that. So what I would recommend you do is just click on the confetti, go to picture format, and then come over to remove background. Now, anything that's dark pink, that dark pink color is gone. And anything that has the actual color protruding from it stays behind. So in this, you can see if I click off of it, it basically ate up my confetti. But what I can do is I could go to remove background, and then you have the two tabs here. I can click on the mark areas to keep. I get this little pencil, and all I have to do is click those little dots. Now, it's very time consuming. I've already done this already. I've also used remove background. So what I'm going to do to keep from having to do this is I'm going to go and grab the one that I already have on my desktop, okay? So that I don't take up all your time removing these little dots. I like to do it because to me it's like weeding, very relaxing. So here I have my confetti where I've already removed the background, that white. So I'm just going to use that. But you can also look out there to see if you find one that has a translucent background. And if it does, then you can use that to keep from removing the background. Okay. So there's my background. Now, one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to add animation to this. Okay. So with this, we're going to click on the confetti, and then we're going to select animation. And these are the different animations you have. So as you click them, it's going to show you what it's going to do. So that's fade, it flies in, it floats in, splits, it wipes, it's in the form of a shape. I kind of like that. There's a wheel, random bars, grow and turn, zoom, and swivel. Excuse me, I'm going to go with the shape. I like that shape. Now, in addition to adding an animation, you'll also have effect options here to the far right. When you click that little drop down arrow, you can decide what type of shape you want. Do you want it to go inward, outward, a circle, a box, diamond, or a plus? So if I select plus, you see how the shape comes in the shape of a plus. Or if I select circle, the shape comes in or the animation comes in the form of a circle. Okay. When you're working with animation, you have to tell it when you want it to come in, and if you want it to exit, when you want it to exit. We're only going to be working with entrances right now. Okay. So we're going to click on this little area here called animation pane. and it's going to open up here on the right side of your screen, kind of like your format background. Now you have an animation pane that's on the right side. And this is all in reference to what we have selected, which is our confetti. So I'm going to click on this little drop down arrow, and I'm going to say start with previous. That just basically means that as soon as this presentation starts, it will automatically bring in the confetti. I don't have to click on anything, and that's what I want it to do, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our balloons. So we're going to go back to Insert, Picture, Online Picture. I'm going to type in balloons. And again, you can use whatever picture you want to use. You do not have to use what I'm using. And I'm going to insert. And that one already has the background removed, so I don't have to do anything to it. And so there we have now our balloons. Now we're going to also add animation to our balloons. So we're going to go, we got our balloons highlighted or selected. You can see we have the little dots going around the balloons. We're going to go up to the menu and select animation. And this time I want it to float in. Okay, but you see it's going upward. I want it to come downward. So I'm going to go over to Effect Options, and I'm going to select Float Down, just like that. Now, with my animation pane already open, I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow, and I'm going to tell it to start after previous. Okay, so that means that the confetti will come in first. After the confetti comes in, then the balloons will come in next. Okay. So now we have our background for our card, okay, or our invitation. So now we can duplicate this. We're just going to right click on the slide and we're going to select duplicate, said duplicate, and duplicate it again. So now you have 3 of them. Now on the second one, we're going to remove the animation. And what we're going to do is just click on the drop down arrow. You want to make sure you select the second slide. Unless you want the animation to come in, you can leave it. But I'm going to remove it from the second and third slide because I only want that intro on the first slide. So I'm going to select the second slide. You can tell I have it selected because it has a red rectangle going around it, but the first and the third slide doesn't. I'm going to come over to my animation. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow, and I'm going to say remove. Same thing with the second one, remove. I'm going to click on that third slide, and I'm also going to remove the animation. Now again, if you want to have animation on all 3 slides, by all means leave it on there. I only want it on my first slide. Okay. Next, I'm going to add my text, and I'm going to say, I'm going to go to the menu and select Insert, Text Box, and then I'm going to left click and drag to the right on my cursor. And I'm going to type in sweet, and I want it all in capital letters. Sweet 16. All right, so we have this little paragraph area here. We want to use this so that we can center our text in this text box. So I'm going to click on that middle option, and that's going to center that text for me. And then I'm going to highlight it just by left clicking and dragging to the right. And I'm going to go up to the font area, and I'm going to select this drop down. And I'm just going to find a font that I want to work with. So let's see what we want to use. I kind of like that. It's called Beauty and the Beast. So I'm going to use Beauty and the Beast this time. And then I'm going to select the font size drop down arrow. And I'm going to blow that up in size. And I want it all on one line. Now, that black or color doesn't really go with my theme. So what I'm going to do is I have the Sweet 16 highlighted. I'm going to go up to the font area. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow for the colors, and I'm going to select eyedropper. And then I'm going to select this blue. And that way, or you can select whatever color you want, but you can pick a color from your balloons so that it doesn't look you know, like it doesn't belong. Now I could have also highlighted it and chose this blue color here, and that would have looked just as well, just fine as well. But it's really, you know, what you want to do. All right, so now I have Sweet 16. I'm going to go to Shape Format, and I'm going to go with Text Effects, and I'm going to select ABC Transform. Okay, this is where you can play around with the text. So you see how that changed to make the S and the N look smaller, like the letters are going smaller to large on the inside. And you can play with these and choose whatever you so, you know, want to use. Okay. But you can see how creative you can get in Microsoft PowerPoint. So I'm going to go with that one. So now I have Sweet 16, and then I'm going to do another insert text box, left click and drag to the right, and I'm going to type in celebration. And 4. Okay, so we're going to go back to we're going to highlight our text. We're going to go back to our paragraph area and select center. And I'm going to use that same color that I have right up above it. So recent colors, I'm going to select that. And you can always go to your shape format, align, and tell it to center. You know, so I just kind of eyeball mine. And you can also tell when it's centered because you'll get that little red dotted line. You see that red dotted line going down the middle of my screen? It's letting me know that that is centered. Okay. So now I have 16, celebration 4. I'm going to highlight them both or select them both and move them up just a little bit. Okay. So now I have my Sweet 16 celebration 4. Now, same thing, we want to add animation. So we have our confetti animated, we have the balloons animated. Now we're going to do the Sweet 16. So you just highlight your Sweet 16, go up to your animation, and you can use whatever you want to get that animation to come in. This time I'm going to go with white. I'm going to go to the effect options, and I'm going to say from the left. Okay. And then with that animation for the text highlighted here in my animation pane, I'm going to select that drop down and say start after previous. And that just basically means that the confetti will come in first, then the balloons, then the Sweet 16. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with the celebration 4. This time we're going to say white. We're going to change it from the left. And we're going to say start after previous. Okay. We're halfway done, guys, halfway done, but you're going to be so proud of yourself when you get this down pat. If you don't know how to do this, this is one time when you're going to be like, I got it, I got it. All right, so I'm going to highlight Sweet 16, and then I'm going to right click and copy, and also right click and paste. And then I'm going to bring that extra Sweet 16 down. And you can see because I copied text that's already been animated, it picks up the animation that is also with that text. So I don't have to go in and do that. But what I do want to do is I want to go back to shape format, text effects, ABC transform, and I'm going to make that Sweet 16, not Sweet 16, but Micaiah G, the name that I'm going to put on here, I'm going to make it a little bit funkier than the Sweet 16. So let's see, I think I'm going to go with that one. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to type in the name. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to highlight the name, go to home, and actually I'm going to have to do it this way. I'm going to have to shift it in like that. Let's see. Okay, there we go. a little bit better. So now I have Sweet 16 celebration for Micaiah G. Okay. Now, so I have animations now for the confetti, the balloons, Sweet 16, Celebration 4, and then Micaiah G. So that shows you how everything, you can see these little boxes, is showing you how everything will come in. Um, I won't be able to show you only because I think it's going to jump over to my second monitor and I'm not screen capturing on my second monitor. But let's just take a look. Let me see if I say view. If it will work actually on this particular one. Normal. Let's go and let's come down here to the bottom and I'm going to click on this slideshow. Yeah, it jumps up on my second monitor so you guys can't see it, but it's really nice. And if you did it along with me, all you have to do is come down to the bottom right and click on this slideshow right here. It looks like a little monitor. If you click on that, it'll show you everything that it's going to do. Okay. All right, so that's the first slide. The second slide, we're going to add you are invited, and then we're going to add a picture. Okay. So to do that, we could also take another one of these, our Sweet 16. We can take that and copy it over to the second slide. And we can type in you are invited. And I'm going to go to shape format, text effects, ABC transform, and I'm going to make this a little bit, I'm kind of designing it a little bit different just to show you what your options are. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to do something else. I'm just going to start over with my text because I want to be able to change the sizing. So I'm going to go back to Insert, Text Box, left click, drag to the right using your cursor. And I'm going to say you are invited. Then I'm going to select it, highlight everything. I'm going to choose to center it, okay, at the top here, center. And I'm going to go ahead and change it to that same Beauty and the Beast. I'm going to blow it up just a little bit, but I don't want it as large as what I had the other. And then I'm going to change this to white. All right, so now we have you are invited, and I'm going to add animation to this. So we're going to say animation, and I'm going to say wheel. Okay, and again, you can change the effects on that wheel. You can have it to do 1 spoke, 2 spokes, 3 spokes. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like if I do 3 spokes, and I like that. So I'm going to tell it to start with previous. And I think I meant to say start with previous on this first one. Let's go back to the first one. Yep, I did select start with previous. Okay, good. All right, so now we have you are invited. And now we want to insert a picture. So you can insert whatever picture you would like to insert. I'm just going to use the picture that I already had. Yeah, I'm going to use the picture that I already had. So I'm going to insert that. And I will put in the description where I got this picture from, but I did buy it off of Etsy. And I'm going to have her animated as well. So I'm going to click on the image, animation. I'm going to have her to do the wheel thing as well. And on my animation pane, I'm going to click on that drop down arrow and say start after previous. And basically what you're doing with this animation pane is you're telling the animation when you want it to come in. If you don't, it's all going to come in at the same time at the request of a click. So when you look at these, it says start on click, start with previous, start after previous, and then you have some additional effect options. One day I'll do a video on animation panes, but not today. Okay. All right. So there we know that's centered because we have our little red dashes going down the screen. So now we have that done. And then the last thing is we're going to go to the very last slide. And this is where we're going to insert our invitation. And so what I did is I just created a table. So we're going to go to insert table. And I made my table. Let me take a look here so I can be exact. I made my table 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 columns and 4 rows. So we're going to say table, 2 columns. So you select 2 columns and then you're going to come down 4 rows. And that is how I made my invitation. And you can actually click on these to make them larger. Let's select 4. Da, da, da. Insert table 2. There we go, 4. All right, so now I have a table with 2 columns and 4 rows. And I'm gonna click on that center line and drag it over. That'll give me more space to type in the details. And this is where I'll do the date, when, where, and the RSVP. Now you do have these little tables here with color already in them. And if you click on them, you're gonna see it's gonna change to, you know, whatever one you click on. So you can find whatever works best for you, you know, and use that to make your invitation. I think I went with a little lighter blue, but this will work. All right, so I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna make sure that I'm typing my text in white so that it'll show up. So I'm gonna do capital, date, when, where, excuse me, and RSVP. Now you can put what whatever you so choose. I'm gonna make my text or my font a little bit funky. So I'm not gonna be using this Calibri. I'm gonna go and use, I don't like that. Let me find a better font to use. You can find whatever will work for you. I want something that's legible. That's one of the things we have to take into consideration when we're working with fonts, is that you want it to be legible. Okay, that'll work. All right, so I'm gonna do date, and I'm just gonna put anything in here. We're gonna say September 12th, 2022, and we're gonna say 6 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. And then we're gonna do our when. I got the date, and then I put when. It's supposed to be not when, it's supposed to be where. All right, so we got our where. This really would be date, time, when, and where, or where and RSVP, but I already put the date and everything up there. So really, based on the way I set this up, I really only needed just 3 lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to click the row I don't want, and I'm going to select delete row. So I just selected the row, right click and delete, and then it's going to give you the option You want to go with row. All right, so now we're going to say where, and we're going to put 15905 Paris Lane, Dallas, Texas, 75254. And we're going to say RSVP by August the 15th of 2022. And we're going to say call or text 123-456-1011. All right. And again, you can move these circles around so that you can make them larger. You can play around with the spacing. So I'm just shifting the where and RSVP down one space. So that it doesn't look jumbled. Looks a little bit nicer. All right, so now we have our date and time. We have where it is. We have the RSVP. You can put whatever or however many columns and rows and everything that you want. You want to make sure that it's centered on your page so that it doesn't look wonky. So let's go. That is centered there. All right, so we're going to animate this. So we're going to click on the image animations. We're just going to say float in. We're going to go to our effect options and say float down. And we're going to tell it to start with previous. So it'll come in automatically. And then the last thing is I'm going to add her again. So I'm just going to copy her and paste her. And then I'm going to resize her so that she's not super big on this one. You guys know how I always like to put my characters in multiple places. And it's going to automatically pick up the same animation from the initial one. So now you have everything that you need. I may have forgotten something, but remember, don't do what I do, do better than what I did. This is just to show you how to use these things in Microsoft PowerPoint so that you can get truly creative about everything that you're doing here. But that's it. That is it. So once you get finished, click on your first slide, come down to the bottom right and select slideshow. And then it's going to start your video for you. The other thing that I'm going to show you is how you can get it to come in by excuse me, I'm going to show you how you can go in and set it up. We're going to click on that first slide. And I'm going to show you how to go in and set it up to record. Okay. I don't want to click on that. I already know that. Okay. So I'm going to show you how you can set up to record. So I would highly recommend you watch me first and then you do yours. Okay. So on my very first slide, so I'm going to say from the beginning. I want to start from the beginning. And then every time I want something to happen, I'm going to click so that PowerPoint can record that click. So that after you save this as a movie or a video and you send it to someone, all they have to do is click on it, open it, and it's going to automatically do all of the fancy things. They won't have to do anything but just sit back and watch. You can get really creative with this, guys. You can add music. You can insert videos in here. It's so much you can do in Microsoft PowerPoint. I could really, go on and on for days about what you can do in here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, excuse me, we are now going to say that from the beginning, and when we get ready, we're going to start recording. And when we want something to happen, we're just going to click so that the next thing will take place. Okay. Um, so I'm going to hit start recording, and I'm going to be quiet because I don't want any volume. Countdown. All right, so that is how you can create your video. So now you have the option to export the video, customize the export. Before I do that, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and hit export video, and it's going to start it. And you see it's saving it as an mp4. Okay, so now you can view and share your video. Here's the link. And this is just letting you know that if you don't know the person that sent this link to you, it may not be safe. And it's saying, do you want to continue to view this? You just created it, so you know it's safe. So you hit yes. And it's actually popped up on my second screen. I'm going to see if I can, it won't let me move it over there. But it's playing all the way through. And it's ready to go. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now that we have it, I'm just going to highlight this, Control C, and we can go ahead and exit. And it'll have a little box here to say the video was exported successfully. Click here to view the video and share with others. Again, you can click it, but I just showed you how to go in and copy, hit Control C on your keyboard. So now, if I wanted to send this to someone, all I would need to do is I'm going to open up my email here. So if I go to my inbox, let me see if it's going to work for me. All right, so here it is. And I'm just going to say compose. And then I would just put that link right in there. And I can say, invitation. And then you can put who you're sending it to. I'm just going to send this one to myself and send. That's it. Okay, so I just showed you how to go in, create a presentation, invitation, how to set up animation on that presentation, how to use the animation pane. I again would say if this is your first time doing it, watch the video through, get yourself together, get you a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, or a cup of water, and just take your time and just walk through the process. You can get really creative with creating invitations in Microsoft PowerPoint that are animated movie clips. Okay, I just showed you how easy it is to do. Okay, and all I was doing, guys, when I was recording, when I wanted it to go to the next slide, I was just hitting the right arrow on my keyboard to make it advance to the next slide or to the next thing. So I was telling it to click, okay, to move forward. So that's how you can get it to advance when you're in the middle of the recording. So I'm not going to keep this one, but when I hit from beginning, and then I clicked on the record. When this finished playing, I hit the right arrow on my keyboard to advance it to the next slide. And that's how I got it to, record me moving it. Now, you do want to take into consideration that you're sending this to someone. You want them to be able to read it, so you don't want to just do this because then they don't have time to, really see what it is you're saying. Okay. So you want to make sure that before you advance it and let the animation and make sure you let the animation play out, you want to make sure that they've had time to read whatever it is. Okay. And then you go to the next. All right. All right, guys, that is it. That is all that I have. Hopefully, you know, you guys will create some great ones in my Facebook group, Ken Doris's Cricut and Creative Crafters, and post those in the group to show everybody your beautiful invitations. Like I said, this doesn't have to be just birthday invitations. It could be graduation invitations. It could be baby shower invitate, whatever kind of invitation. You can also do greeting cards, instead of just doing, greeting cards on paper, you can do, two slides, make this one to be the first page, this one to be the second page, and have it do all kinds of great things. But maybe one day next week, I will create a video on animation and maybe a video on gradients when you're formatting your background. Okay. But if you have any questions, guys, because I do understand that this is taking it to the next level, this is more than just a beginner tutorial. So if you do have any questions whatsoever, just feel free to drop me a comment, and I do respond to all comments to kind of help you if you get stumped. Okay. All right, guys, that's my story. Hey, if you like to join my Facebook group, it's called Ken Doris's Cricut and Creative Crafters. I'd love to have you join my group. All you have to do is send a Facebook group request to that group, Ken Doris's Cricut and Creative Crafters, and it is a private group, so you do have to request to join. And for those of you that are already currently members in my Facebook group, thank you guys so much for the support via Facebook. If you're currently subscribed to my YouTube channel, I thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time seeing my tutorials, I have over 300 tutorials on my YouTube channel. You can check my playlist for the different types of videos or tutorials that I've created. Then please, please, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. And to those that are already subscribed, thank you guys so much for the support via YouTube. Okay. And that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And you guys know my motto is each one reach one so that each one can teach one. And you guys have an awesome day.